Hello everyone. In this video, I will talk about the most common US visa interview question. I'll tell you what to expect in your US visa interview, and we will also talk about the documents that you should carry for your interview. This is going to be a very informative video, and if you have your US visa interview coming up, you should watch this video till the very end. Let us get started. But before I start, let me talk about what the visa officer really thinks when you go for your visa interview. In his mind, you are an intended immigrant. So he assumed that you have an immigration intention and you will go and settle in USA. So there are two things that are going through the visa officer mind. First, you have an intention to immigrate to US, and the second, that you are going to work there. Therefore, it is your duty to convince the visa officer that you don't want to permanently stay in USA and you have the intention to return back to your home country. Now we are going to talk about different questions, and I will also give you some suggestions on how to answer it. But I want you to remember that your answers should reflect your intent to return back to your home country. This is the most important. And if your answer reflect this, you are going to get this visa. So when you go for your visa interview, the first thing that the visa officer will ask you is for your passport. They will scan your passport and they will see by scanning that do you have any travel history or not. So after you getting your passport, this is in most situations the first question. Why are you going to US? Or you can even ask you what is your purpose of visit. It is one and the same thing. This is a very important question because the answer to this question will in a way set the tone for the interview. And remember, the visa interview for US is generally 1 to 3 minutes. So in that 1 to 3 minutes, they will decide whether they want to give you visa or not. So this one answer will help them understand what is your reason of visit, and that is the most important thing. So I would suggest that be short in your answer, but have some specific. So don't just walk in there and tell them that you are going for tourism. So that is not what they want to hear. Give them something, try to convince them that you are going there for a genuine reason, and then after your trip, you are going to go back to your home country. So you can tell something like this. I'm going to attend training organized by my employer at our Manhattan office. This is an example. This is the answer that actually I gave. So if you are going there for say trainings, so you can tell them that I'm going there for training, and you can tell them who is organizing the training. If it is your employer, tell them my employer is organizing the training, and also tell them where you are going. So in one answer, I have cleared everything. So the visa officer knows why I'm going to US. The visa officer know where I'm going in US, and the visa officer know like who has organized this as well. So this is a very brief answer, but it captures everything. But say if you are going there for tourism, and say if you're going to Disney World, you can tell something like this. I'm going to visit Disney World in Florida for 1 week. So you're telling them you're going to Disney World, you're telling them you're going to Florida, and you're telling them that it will be for a week. But these are our verbal answers, but you also need documentation to prove this. So in my case, I was having a support letter from my employer. So interesting thing over here is that they actually asked me for my letter. They actually asked me that do you have anything from your employer? So I was having it in my hand, so I just forwarded it to them. So it made my case very strong and I received my visa. Similarly, if you are going there for tourism, you should be having something to tell them. Like your plans should be specific. You should have prepared a travel itinerary. You should have dates in your mind. When are you planning to visit? Remember that you shouldn't book your flights, because if you book your flights and if you don't get your visa, your money will be wasted. So, but you can have a travel plan. You can have a tentative flight dates. You can book tickets if you can get refund, and you can if you're going to Disney World, maybe you can book a ticket for to Disney World. If you have some plans, it will make your case very strong. But if you simply just say that I'm going there for tourism, that's not gonna work, because they don't have much time. They will be just having few minutes to decide that they should give you a visa or not, and in the absence of a valid reason, they are most likely going to refuse your visa. This question in most cases will also lead to the follow-up questions from their end, because if you tell them that you are going for training, then they will ask you about your employer, they will ask you about your work. Similarly, if you are telling them that you are going there to visit your family, they are going to ask for your family in US. They are going to ask about your funds. They are going to ask about an invitation letter if you have from your family. Therefore, prepare this question really well. Now let's talk about the second question. How will you finance your trip? So if you are going to US, obviously you need to have sufficient fund with you. If you don't have fund, how are you going to finance your trip? And if the visa officer thinks that you don't have sufficient fund, he is most likely going to refuse your visa. So how are you going to prove that you have sufficient fund? So you can carry these documents with yourself. You may not need them, but it is still better to carry them. If they ask you for your bank statement, you can show it to them. A document is always nice to have. So you can have a bank statement, you can have your pay slips. These, if needed, you can show it to them. Remember, the bank statement should be for the past 6 months. And also remember, the bank statement should be stable in nature. By stable, I mean there should be some increments in your bank balance. There should be a regular transaction in your bank account. And the bank account should not be like there is one huge time deposit in your bank account. It will suggest to them that you have taken a loan from somebody, or you have arranged money from somewhere and you have deposited in your bank account. So if you increase your bank balance by making one time deposit and rest of the year your bank has no transaction, they will understand that something is going on with your bank account, and in that situation maybe they will refuse your visa. So it is better to have a stable bank account than making one big deposit once a year. Again, you can show your investment, you can have your pay slips ready. And suppose if you are being sponsored by your family or friends, then in that case you can have a support letter from your family or friends. Now coming to the next question, they can ask you that, are you employed? This is a very important question. The reason why this is a very important question is that in their mind you are intended immigrant, and if they think that you are unemployed, then the chances are that you are going to maybe permanently stay in US. But if you are employed, if you have something going on in your home country, that suggests to them that you have a reason to go back to your home country. You have some responsibilities in your home country and you are going to go back once your vacation or your trip is over in United States. So if you are employed, you can carry these documents. Your employment letter. This employment letter should have your job details and it should be on the company's letterhead. Again, you can also carry your letter confirming your vacation from your HR or from your manager. You can carry your pay slips, you can carry your ITR. Remember that since the interviews are just 1 to 3 minutes long, in most situations they will not ask you for these documents. But it is always better to have these documents in case they ask you. Now, if you are running a business, then you can carry these documents. You can carry your invoices, you can carry your income tax return, you can carry your revenue statement about your sales, and you can carry your article of incorporation related document. This you must have received when you established your business. What happens if you are a student? This is very simple. You can carry your student ID card. This again tells them that you have something to go back to your home country. You are pursuing something. So you can carry this. But what if you are unemployed? So in this case, your chances of refusals are very high because you have a weak ties to your home country. You don't have employment there. And in that case, you may settle in United States. So if that is the situation, you should have something in mind, some reason that you can tell them why you are unemployed. And also you can tell them that if you are in between jobs, you can tell them that I'm in between jobs, and once my vacation is over in United States, I have some interviews lined up and I will be attending those interviews. This is the best you can do in my opinion, but if you have some answers in your mind, if you have some reasons, you can tell them that. Now coming to the next question, they may ask you that have you ever been denied a US visa before? So if you were denied a US visa before, you can tell them the reason for why your US visa was refused. And there are situations when people have US visa refusal, and I have seen them getting US visa. So they may have a refusal in L1 visa or something, but that is okay as long as your reason is valid. You should be able to get this visa. Similarly, you may have your visa refused for UK, Canada, or for any country. As long as you have a valid reason for that, you can get your US visa, and many people have received their visa, so this shouldn't be an issue. Now, coming to the next question, if you are going there for say, so if your reason to visit US is to visit your family, you can tell them obviously that you are going to visit your family, and if you have a niece who was born in US, you can tell them that you are going to meet them. But in that case, they can have a follow-up question like where your family lives in US. So they can ask you a few questions on your family, because there are always concerns that if you have a family, friend, relatives, or your boyfriend or girlfriend living in US, there is always this concern that they can file a petition for you for green card. Now the next question is that how long will you be staying in US? So if you are going for vacation, you can tell them you're going for 10 days or 12 days. It is always better to tell them like you're going for less time than tell them like you're going for 4 months or 5 months. That may raise some suspicion. So I would suggest if you're going there for first time, it is always better to have a plan for a week or 2 week visit. So you can tell them something like I plan to stay 10 days, but in that case, always have your travel itinerary ready. Now let me talk a little bit about what travel itinerary is. You can have a tentative date in your mind when you are going to travel, when you are going to come back to your home country, hotels that you are going to book, destinations that you are gonna visit. So you can have them prepared in this travel itinerary. Now coming to the next question, they can ask you that have you been to US before? So if you have been to US before, and if you have not overstayed your visit, and if you have a good history, your chances of getting visa is very high. But if you have not been to US before, that is all right. You can tell them that no, you have not been to US before. Now coming to the next question, will you be traveling alone? So if you're traveling alone, you can tell them yes, I will be traveling alone. If you're traveling with family, you can tell them that I will be traveling with family. Now coming to the next question, they can ask you that how can you convince us about your ties to your home country? Will you return back? This question is very direct, and in most situations they will not ask you this question, but question like this they can use to throw you off. So you should have an answer to this, and let me explain to you what ties to your home country means. Ties to your home country is something that gives you reason to go back to your home country. And what could it be? So again, we have discussed about employment. If you have employment in your home country, you have reason to go back to your home country. Therefore, you have ties to that country. Similarly, if you have family living there, if you have children, if you have a wife in your home country, you always have reason to go back to your home country. Now, of other things that could establish ties to your home countries are your properties, your income tax return, your investment. Ties to your home country is very important, and this is actually the reason for most visa refusals. So in most situations, they will not ask this question, but despite that, I will suggest that you should have all your documents ready and you should carry these documents with you. Now coming to the next question. This question they can ask you if you are giving your visa interview in a third country. Third country is when you are giving your visa interview not in your home country but in some other country. For example, You are a citizen of India, but currently you are living in Canada and you are giving your visa interview in Canada. So that is a third country. So this is a very tricky thing because this could raise some suspicion. Why are you not giving your visa interview in your home country, but you came to a different country to give your visa interview? Therefore, you should have valid reason for that. And if you have a work permit, if you have a student permit, then it should be all right because you have a genuine reason. But if you don't have a work permit and you don't have a student permit and you're still giving your visa interview in a third country, then have reason to explain yourself. They can also ask you this question: how long have you been here? What are you doing here? What you do? So you can tell them if you've been there for a month, you can tell them a month. You can tell them that if you're working there, you can tell them you are working there. And if you say you're a tax accountant, you can tell them you're a tax accountant. So these are the most common questions that they can ask you. So if you have watched this video till this very part, you will have now better understanding of how to answer these questions. And other than this, let me give you some advice also. You should be polite. You should show respect. Don't answer unnecessarily. Also, I wanted to tell you something. I have made one video on how to fill DS-160 for your US visa. So if you have not filled the DS-160 yet, you can watch my video and you can have better clarity. Also, I have shared my experience of US visa interview. You can watch that as well. That will again give you a better clarity. And please subscribe my channel. And if you have any questions, you can ask me on my Instagram. Thank you.